Alright, what's going on, guys? This is Tom Ecstatics here, and today I'm going to be talking about what happened to Lou Ferrigno and where did his career go after 1975, which was one of his last competitions, obviously, if you're not counting 1992 and 1993 and 1994. But after the Pump and Iron documentary, and I think a lot of people do wonder this, because placing third in 1975, I believe a lot of people after watching Pump and Iron think, why didn't he compete the next few years? I mean, obviously, even Arnold said it himself. If Lou would have competed, he would have won a couple of Mr. Olympias for sure. I mean, he was a lot bigger than the rest of the competitors, and he was still pretty young, compared to the other competitors. But yeah, so going on. Obviously, this is one pick, great physique. I loved his physique in Pump and Iron. Obviously, my favorite bodybuilder from that era is Serge Nubret. I believe he smoked everyone in there. I do not know why he has never won a Mr. Olympia. Maybe it's politics. Who knows? Here's a shitty resolution pick from that. Obviously, him standing next to Arnold, and you can see Lou was just giant for that era, of course. Another great pick of Lou, little nature shot. But obviously after 1975, around that time there wasn't money like there is now in bodybuilding to where you can get sponsorships. Obviously there were sponsorships, but it was nothing like it is now. Even the 1980s, it wasn't until, even now, like, you could be pretty much a nobody but have a big Instagram account and make a career out of it. But then it was nothing like it is now, and I believe after that Olympia, he really realized, he's got to look towards his future instead of focusing on this Olympia. And I believe he had to make money somehow, and just wasn't getting it from bodybuilding. So obviously in 1997, he was casted as the Hulk, and he played the Hulk, I believe, into the 1980s. I know he's in a few of the modern Hulk movies, and I believe voiced the Hulk. But obviously, this was kind of the starting of the acting career. I don't believe he was in many films. I know he's in Kings of Queens. But yeah. So obviously, he went on to acting. In 1977, he did a strongman competition with Franco Colombo. That was at kind of the beginning of the strongman competitions. That was pretty cool. Give it a watch. I know all the 1970 strongman competitions are on YouTube with like Bill Kazmaier and all that. They're really fun to watch. Kind of before modern day strongman. It's just, it's a good watch. It's pretty interesting. And then, oops. And that brings us to, we're going to jump all the way to 1992. And he put on a ton of size, and this was kind of his comeback, will you say? And, obviously 1992, about 1975, we're looking at like 15, 16 years after he last competed, and come back, and he looked phenomenal. I will say he looked phenomenal for someone that was out of competition for that long. That is pretty amazing that he's able to put on that much mass, compared to the size he was in the 1970s. And I don't believe he ever looked. I don't believe he really was that focused on bodybuilding, especially with acting and stuff. So this was his comeback. 1992 he placed 12th, and then 1993 he placed 10th. And by all means, it may not seem that good, but that is a Mr. Olympia in those early 90s. It may not be the most competitive, but I believe that around Dorian Yates' end of Lee Haney era. And, he still did phenomenal. I mean, to make the Mr. Olympia at that age, out of the competition for that many years, that's pretty impressive. And then 1994, there was a Masters Olympia, which is basically all the old guys. This is another pic of him. I thought this was kind of funny. The other guy's under 5 feet, obviously, but Lou was huge. He was a really big guy, 6'5", and like around 300 pounds, 315 pounds, something like that. Here's him next to Dorian Yates and Paul Dillette. I love Paul Dillette's physique. It's a real shame that his posing kind of sucked, which I'm gonna do a video on in the future. But obviously, you can see he's keeping up with the mass there. I mean, I don't believe Dorian Yates was at his biggest there yet, but I honestly in this picture he looks bigger than both Paul Dillette and Dorian Yates. So he's a big guy, and legs aren't too small. Unlike Kevin the Roman, he tried to make a comeback. But this comes to the Master Olympia, which I just mentioned in 1994. Obviously you can see Robbie Robinson won this, which he has kept that shape for long ass time. Even at 70 something, he's still looking phenomenal. But this is Boyer Coy. I always forget how to pronounce it. Obviously he's lacking in the leg department there. But I believe he got second in this competition. Obviously Robinson just looks amazing. And this is kind of, if you watch the Stand Tall, which I believe is the documentary about his comeback, this is kind of what it's based around. He looked phenomenal here. Another pic of him and Yates, and yeah. So pretty much that's kind of what happened. I mean, he went from, obviously the pump and iron. It's a real shame he didn't compete. He had a great physique, and I honestly think he had a few Mr. Olympias in him. But, obviously, there just wasn't the money in the competition then. And I think acting was definitely a good career choice for him. He's wildly famous now. I wouldn't see him anywhere near as famous as he is now if that's all I did was compete. But yeah, if you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.